Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating, tracing that journey, from the cacao bean all the way to, well, that amazing moment you taste really good chocolate.
Right.
And you're here because you want to understand this whole world, but efficiently, right?
Yes, get the essentials quickly.
Exactly. So think of this as your shortcut, your direct line to understanding cacao farming and chocolate making.
And we've really immersed ourselves in, well, a lot of information, everything from the environment cacao needs
Right.
to dealing with pests sustainably using organic fertilizers, the actual chocolate making steps, how you'd set up a farm, sustainable supply chains, what makes a farm successful, the gear you need,
Okay.
cutting down pesticide use, nursery challenges, saving money up front, why soil's so vital, common pests and diseases.
Wow. Okay.
Even some surprising gaps in the research, the health benefits, which are pretty cool. Raw versus roasted, how it all transforms. The rules and regulations, and yeah, the big question, is it actually profitable? So it's quite a deep dive.
Okay, let's jump right in. The foundation, right? The environment. What kind of place does a cacao tree actually like to call home?
Well, think warm, consistently warm. Cacao loves tropical climates, really stable temperatures. Ideally, you're looking at 20 to 30 degrees Celsius.
Okay, so pretty specific.
Very. If it drops below 15 Celsius, the trees can get damaged, even die. Frost, definitely a no-go.
Right.
And they love humidity. We're talking 70 to 90% relative humidity.
Yeah.
It really shows how sensitive they are to climate shifts.
So steamy and warm. Got it. What about rain? I guess if it likes humidity.
It needs plenty of rain, yeah. But it's a balance.
Okay.
Needs between, say, 1,150 and 2,500 millimeters a year. And spread out pretty evenly.
Wow.
Consistent moisture is key, but, and this is important, the soil can't get waterlogged. That leads to root problems fast.
Right. Soggy feet, bad for everyone. So
Yeah.
speaking of roots, what about the soil itself? What's the ideal setup?
You want deep soil,
Yeah.
at least 1.5 meters deep, gives the roots room,
Mm-hmm.
needs to be fertile, lots of organic matter, and crucially, well drained. We keep coming back to that drainage, don't we?
Yeah, seems vital.
Ideal pH is between 5.0 and 7.5. They're pretty sensitive to drought and poor drainage.
Okay. And I often see pictures of cacao growing under other trees. Is that just like for looks?
No, it's very practical, especially for the young plants. They need that shade.
Ah, protection.
Yeah, exactly. Protects them from harsh sun, extreme temps. So growers often interplant shade trees. Creates a sort of microclimate buffer.
Makes sense.
And you usually find them at lower altitudes, mostly below 1,000 meters. Oh, and predictable rainy and dry seasons. That actually helps regulate the flowering and fruiting.
Interesting. Okay, so it needs this very specific set of conditions. But even then, I assume things can go wrong. Pests, diseases.
Oh, absolutely. Even in the perfect spot, cacao's vulnerable.
Yeah.
So pest management is so critical.
Right.
And there's a big push now towards more sustainable ways of doing that, moving away from the harsher chemicals.
Which brings us neatly to, well, sustainable pest control.
Yeah.
How do you keep the bad bugs away without nuking the whole farm?
It's fascinating, really.
Right.
It's about working with nature, using natural predators to control the pests.
It's like setting up a mini ecosystem.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You foster a balance right there on the farm.
So who are these little helpers, these tiny superheroes?
Well, you got ladybugs. They love eating mealybugs and aphids.
Okay.
And those pests can spread diseases too, like the cacao swollen shoot virus. So ladybugs are key.
Right.
The lacewings, their larvae, and the adults munch on mealybugs and other soft pests.
Cool.
Parasitic wasps are another good one. They lay eggs inside mealybugs. Takes care of them pretty effectively.
Wow, nature's little assassins.
All right.
Any others?
Yeah, birds and bats help out a lot. They eat a whole range of insects. Predatory mites go after pest mites. Quite a team. But ants can be tricky. Some ants prey on pests, which is great. But others actually protect mealybugs because they feed on their sugary honeydew.
Ah, a little quid pro quo.
Exactly. So sometimes you need to manage the ants too to help the beneficials do their job.
Okay, so how do you get these good guys to, stick around?
It's all about habitat.
Yeah.
You need to manage it right. Shade trees, plant diversity that gives them shelter, food,
Makes sense.
avoid pruning too much.
Right.
And the big one, minimize, or ideally, stop using broad spectrum insecticides. They kill the good guys too.
Right.
Sometimes you can even bring in beneficial insects, buy them commercially to give the natural populations a boost if you have an outbreak.
So create a welcoming environment, basically. You mentioned an example where this worked.
Yeah, really good one from a West African plantation. They tackled mealybugs using several methods together.
Like what?
Careful pruning of infested parts, releasing ladybugs and lacewings they'd bought, managing ants organically,
Yeah.
using neem oil, that's a natural insecticide, and even satellite monitoring to see how well it was working.
And did it.
Yeah, within a year, they got the mealybugs under control. No chemical pesticides needed.
That's fantastic. Good for the environment, good for the crop. Okay, so we've protected the trees. Now how about feeding them organically, of course?
Right. If you want healthy trees without synthetic fertilizers, organic options are the way. They don't just feed the plant. They improve the soil health, help those microbes we like.
So what are the top organic choices?
Compost is a great one. Just decomposed organic stuff.
Yeah.
Improves soil structure, boosts microbes, recycles nutrients right there.
Nice.
Using it regularly can really help yields and bean quality. Then there's animal manure. Poultry manure is particularly good.
Why poultry?
Rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, helps young seedlings survive and grow, but it has to be well composted first. Very important.
Got it. What about worms? Are they helpful?
Oh yeah, worm castings, vermicompost. It's like superfood for the soil.
Huh.
Makes nutrients more available, improves aeration, packed with good microbes. They estimate maybe 5 pounds per plant per year is beneficial. And don't forget the cacao's own byproducts, the pod husks, the fruit pulp compost those, and you return nutrients right back. Closes the loop.
A nice circular approach. Anything else?
Liquid organic fertilizers, sometimes called biols or compost teas. They give readily available nutrients and microbes. You can spray it on leaves or drench the soil.
Okay.
And finally, things like bone meal for phosphorus and rock dust for trace minerals. They help root development and long-term fertility.
That's quite a menu. Okay, fast forward. We've got healthy trees, beautiful pods. How do those beans become chocolate?
It's quite a transformation. Starts with harvesting the right pods, usually done by hand, carefully.
Oh, wait, don't want to hurt the tree.
Exactly. Then you open the pods, scoop out the wet beans and the pulp around them.
Okay, fresh beans. What's next? Is it drying?
Not yet. Fermentation first. This is absolutely critical.
Uh-huh.
Beans and pulp go into wooden boxes or piles, often covered with banana leaves. They ferment naturally for about 5 to 7 days.
And that's for flavor.
Huge for flavor development. Those chocolate precursors really start forming. Plus, it reduces bitterness.
Okay, 5-7 days, then drying.
Then drying, yes.
Yeah.
Spread them out, usually in the sun, to lower the moisture content, prevent spoilage. Needs to get down to a safe level.
So wet and fruity to dry and bean-like. What happens then?
Roasting comes next. The dried beans are roasted carefully, controlled temperatures.
Roasting.
Brings out that classic chocolate aroma, develops more complex flavors. The time and temp depend on the final chocolate profile you want.
Yeah, okay.
After roasting, the shells are brittle, they get cracked open, and then winnowing using air currents separates the inner nibs from the lighter husks.
Nibs. That's the good stuff, right?
That's the heart of it, exactly. Those nibs are then ground, often with stone grinders, into a thick liquid called chocolate liquor or cocoa mass.
Okay. Liquid chocolate, basically.
Pretty much. It contains the cocoa solids and the cocoa butter. Then comes conching.
Conching, what's that?
It's extensive mixing, sometimes with air, maybe gentle heat, for hours or even days. Refines the texture, rounds out the flavor, makes it smooth.
Sound like it takes patience.
It does. After that, depending on the chocolate type, they add sugar, maybe more cocoa butter, milk powder, mix it all in.
Uh-huh.
Then it's often refined further, maybe through rollers, to get that super smooth, melt in your mouth texture.
Almost there?
Tempering.
Mm.
Another crucial step, carefully cooling and reheating the liquid chocolate to specific temperatures.
Why do that?
It stabilizes the cocoa butter crystals, gives the final chocolate its gloss, its shine, and that satisfying snap when you break it.
The snap, okay.
Then finally pour it into molds, cool it till solid, pop it out, wrap it up, and enjoy.
What a journey from a pod on a tree to a bar. Okay, so if someone's dreaming of starting this, what's a basic first step? Like, how much land do you even need?
That's a really good question, and honestly,
Yeah.
it varies a lot, especially if you're in the U.S. Minimum lot sizes depend heavily on local zoning, agricultural rules.
Can you give some examples just to get a feel for the range?
Sure, in places with exclusive farm use zones, like parts of Oregon, you might need 80, maybe 160 acres for general farming, sometimes more.
Wow, okay. That's big.
But then look at county rules. In parts of Pennsylvania, maybe just 10 acres qualifies as a farm business for certain things, sometimes even 5 in rural zones.
That's a huge difference. What if it's not strictly zoned for farming, like mixed use areas?
Often you'll see larger minimums there if you wanted to officially call it a farm, maybe 10 acres plus. And then you have these large lot preservation zones, could be 160 acres minimum, to discourage development.
So the takeaway is check locally. No single answer.
Exactly. Big commercial farms need scale, obviously. Right. But smaller pilot projects might work on smaller lots if local rules allow.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to check with your local planning or zoning department first. It varies wildly.
Crucial advice. Okay, so you've got the land. How do you build a supply chain that's actually sustainable? We hear that word all the time. What does it mean for cacao?
Right, it's key. And it's holistic. It's not just environment. It's social, economic well-being too. And transparency, ethical practices they have to underpin everything.
So where do you start building that?
Traceability and transparency are fundamental. You need systems, digital systems, GPS mapping, maybe even blockchain to track beans from the farm right to the finished product.
Okay.
Working with certification bodies helps too, like Rainforest Alliance or Fairtrade. They verify standards, improve traceability. Though certification alone isn't a magic bullet for transparency.
Right. What about the farmers themselves, the people growing the cacao?
Building direct relationships is vital. Setting up places to buy directly from farmers or their co-ops. It strengthens the connection, helps ensure quality, boosts traceability, and paying fair, stable prices, offering long-term contracts, that's huge. It improves livelihoods, gives them incentive to farm sustainably.
So partnerships, not just transactions.
Exactly. And internally, you need to integrate sustainability into your sourcing. Unified teams who get both sides sourcing and sustainability goals.
Makes sense.
Investing in farmer training, community development that helps promote sustainable techniques, strengthens local economies too.
Are there industry standards or guidelines helping with this?
Yeah, things like ISO 34101 offer a framework for sustainable cocoa production, covers management, criteria, traceability.
Okay.
And you have to stay on top of new regulations, like the EU deforestation regulation. Work with farmers to meet those demands to access markets.
So it's tech, relationships, standards, regulations, anything else.
Collaboration across the whole chain. Farmers, co-ops, processors, exporters, chocolate companies, everyone needs to be engaged in shared initiatives.
Right.
Tackling big issues like low income, climate change,
Right.
human rights that takes collective effort, and continuous monitoring, regular checks, audits, using tech like blockchain, AI, IoT, to improve resilience and sustainability.
It sounds like a really interconnected, proactive effort is needed. Okay, let's zoom back to the farm level. What really determines if a chocolate farm succeeds or fails?
It's a mix of factors, all linked. First, those environmental conditions we talked about. Temperature, rain, humidity, light. They have to be right.
The foundation.
Absolutely. Suboptimal conditions mean stressed plants, lower yields, soil quality too fertile, well-drained, right, pH, and water management, good drainage, but also holding enough moisture.
Okay, get the environment right. What else?
Pest and disease management, huge factor. We listed some big ones earlier. If they get out of control, yield and quality plummet.
So the integrated pest management approach.
Exactly. It's the most effective long-term strategy. Good farm management overall is also essential.
Meaning?
Regular pruning, sanitation keeps trees healthy, reduces pest pressure, using the right fertilizers based on soil needs, and planting good varieties, high-yielding, disease-resistant ones make a big difference.
Okay. What about things beyond the actual farming?
Access to resources and finance, that's crucial. Farmers need credit for inputs, infrastructure, weathering bad years. Training and technical help are vital too, adopting best practices. And certification and market access are increasingly important.
So?
Certification can open doors to premium markets, better prices sometimes, and just having reliable buyers, stable market links, that's essential for long-term viability.
It really does sound like a complex web.
It is. Infrastructure matters too. Good farm layout, accessibility, storage, minimizes losses,
Right.
and post-harvest, handling proper fermentation, drying, storage that's key for quality and getting the best price. Finally, the human element.
Like farmer knowledge.
Farmer knowledge, education, Plus community support, being part of a cooperative that provides shared resources, training, bargaining power. It all adds up.
That's a really thorough picture.
Yeah.
Okay, someone's starting small. What's the absolute essential gear they need?
For a small farm doing cultivation and maybe some basic processing, it breaks down into three main areas. Cultivation tools, post-harvest gear, and if they're making chocolate, some specialized stuff.
Okay, let's start with cultivation. What are the must-haves?
Definitely need good pruning tools. Sharp shears, saws, manages the canopy, helps prevent disease spread.
Right.
Sprayer's backpack or small electric ones for organic pest control or foliar feeds. Tools for managing shade trees, machetes, maybe long trimmers.
Okay.
A basic soil testing kit is smart for checking pH and nutrients. And some kind of simple irrigation like drip lines or rainwater harvesting gear, especially if you have dry seasons.
Got it. Essentials for growing. What about after harvest?
Need harvesting tools, sharp machetes, or poles with hooks
Yeah.
to get pods down safely. Fermentation boxes can be simple wood or food-grade plastic. Drying surfaces, raised mesh beds, maybe solar dryers. Need to get that moisture down. A moisture meter is essential to check that.
Right. Got to hit the right level.
And airtight storage bins or bags.
Right.
Protect the dried beans from pests and humidity.
Okay. And if they want to go bean to bar on the farm,
Then you need a few more specialized things. A winnower to separate nibs from husks. A small roaster could be a drum roaster or even a modified oven. A grinder or malonger, usually stone grinders, to make the chocolate liquor.
okay.
A small tempering machine is really helpful if you want that professional. Finish the gloss and snap. And molds, of course, for bars or whatever shapes. Plus, basic packaging tools if you're selling heat sealer labels.
Sounds like it could get expensive, even small scale. Any tips for keeping costs down initially?
Definitely. DIY is your friend. Build simple fermentation boxes from local wood. Make drying racks from bamboo. Saves a lot.
Good idea.
Look into sharing equipment with neighbors. Maybe a bigger grinder or roaster. Prioritize too. Start with cultivation and post-harvest basics. Add the chocolate-making gear later as you grow.
Phased approach.
Exactly. Or even outsource initial processing steps like fermentation or drying to a local co-op or facility. Avoids big upfront costs.
That's really practical advice. Okay, we touched on organic pest control, but let's dig deeper. What are the best evidence-based ways to really minimize pesticide use?
There are quite a few proven strategies. A big one is actively promoting beneficial insects and biodiversity.
Like we talked about with ladybugs.
Exactly. Encourage natural predators. Plant diverse shade trees, companion plants. Attracts beneficials, pollinators. Helps regulate pests naturally. Even simple things like birdhouses, bat boxes can help control insects.
So boosting the farm's natural defenses. What else?
Agroforestry systems. Mixing cacao with shade trees like banana or fruit trees improves the microclimate, soil health, can even boost the cacao's own resistance,
Okay.
including nitrogen-fixing plants like legumes, enriches the soil naturally, reduces need for synthetic fertilizers too, just solid organic farming practices overall.
Like composting.
Composting, mulching to suppress weeds and improve soil, good farm sanitation, removing diseased pods promptly.
Are there specific natural sprays or treatments that work?
Yeah, some biopesticides and natural remedies are effective. Neem oil, chili garlic extracts. There are also microbial agents like certain fungi that target specific insects. Biofertilizers, too, they introduce beneficial microbes to the soil, boost plant health and resilience. And basic farm management makes a difference.
Such as?
Proper pruning, shade management reduces humidity, helps prevent fungal diseases. Crop rotation can disrupt pest cycles. Planting resistant varieties is huge, too, if available.
It really feels like soil health is central to all this.
It absolutely is. Healthy, biologically active soil is fundamental. Avoid synthetic chemicals, build organic matter that enhances plant immunity.
Right.
Regular soil testing helps address deficiencies naturally. Joining organic co-ops or getting certified can provide support and resources for sustainable pest management, too. And it all falls under that integrated pest management umbrella, monitor pests. Use targeted biological controls and natural remedies when needed. Even thinking about climate resilience helps drought-resistant varieties. Water conservation, less stress, means plants are often less susceptible.
It's a very holistic picture. Okay, let's get into some finer details, often missed nurseries and propagation. Any pitfalls or blind spots people should know about?
Oh, definitely. Some crucial things get overlooked. Nursery water quality is a big one.
How so? Isn't water just water?
Not for sensitive seedlings. High salinity, the wrong pH, contaminants like pathogens, they can severely stunt growth, cause nutrient problems, even introduce diseases right at the start.
Ah, so quantity isn't enough. Quality is key.
Exactly. Ideally, salinity measured as EC should be below 0.7 DSM. pH should be around 6.0 to 7.0.
Okay.
And it needs to be free of harmful bacteria, heavy metals. Using untreated river or pond water can bring in soil-borne diseases. Regular water testing is really important.
Right.
If it's too acidic, you can add lime. High salinity might mean blending water sources or using rainwater harvesting.
That's a detail you don't always see. What's another potential blind spot, maybe in propagation?
Grafting failures. Grafting is essential for propagating the best cacao clones, disease-resistant, high-yielding. But it doesn't always work.
Why not?
One reason is incompatibility. The cutting from the good tree and the rootstock it's grafted onto might not be genetically compatible. Leads to weak unions, failure. Choosing the right rootstock is also crucial. If the rootstock is weak or susceptible to local diseases, it undermines the whole thing.
So it's not just about the physical technique.
Technique and timing matter hugely too, yes. Wrong methods, dull or dirty tools, grafting in bad weather, hot, dry, too rainy, all reduce success. And sanitation is paramount. Dirty tools or infected plant material can introduce disease right at the graft point.
So how do you improve success rates?
Choose vigorous, disease-resistant rootstocks known to be compatible with your scion. Use healthy scion wood from good mother trees, master the technique, graft during active growth periods, sterilize tools obsessively, and provide good aftercare shade, water. Give the graft the best chance.
Really valuable technical points there. Okay, back to the money side. Starting up is expensive. How can people cut those initial costs for a cacao farm?
Very practical question. Lots of ways, actually. Land is often the biggest cost.
Yeah.
So consider leasing instead of buying, especially at first. Start small. A pilot plot, maybe 1 or 2 hectares. Test things out before scaling up. You might also find cheaper lease rates on marginal land that needs a bit of work.
Good tips. What about equipment and supplies?
Prioritize. Buy only essentials initially. Use manual tools where possible instead of costly machines. DIY solutions help a lot. Build your own fermentation boxes, drying racks from local stuff.
Right.
Embrace organic farming.
Right.
Use on-farm waste compost manure, pod husks for fertilizer. Reduces need for expensive synthetic inputs, and manage labor smartly.
Oh.
Use family labor if you can. Hire local workers per task, not full-time early on. Join a co-op. They often share equipment, offer bulk buying discounts, training. Reduces individual costs. You could even barter services with neighbors. Trade labor for seedlings, maybe.
Creative solutions. Any other cost-saving angles?
Yeah, low-cost farming practices like intercropping, grow cacao with other crops, shade trees that bear fruit, maybe. Diversifies income. Use natural pest controls, neem oil, homemade sprays. Cheaper than chemicals. Harvest rainwater. Use simple irrigation. Reduces water costs. Look for support too.
Through who?
Governments, NGOs. Apply for grants, subsidies for sustainable ag. Take advantage of free training from extension services. Phase your investments.
Like we talked about with equipment.
Exactly. Focus on producing quality beans first. Reinvest profits into chocolate-making gear later. Maybe collaborate with local processors initially for fermentation, drying. Avoids big upfront costs. And certification.
Yeah.
Look into group certification through co-ops, much cheaper individually. Or start with implementing local sustainable practices. Get formal certification later when you're more established.
That's a really solid list of ways to make starting up more affordable. Okay, let's revisit soil. We know it's important. Beyond deep and fertile, what makes soil really effective for cacao?
Okay, digging deeper into soil. Type and structure are key. We said well-drained is vital. Loamy texture, that mix of sand, silt, clay, is usually ideal. Good drainage, but holds moisture and nutrients well. Soil should be friable, crumbly, easy to work, lets roots penetrate easily. And organic matter, we mentioned at least 3.5% in the top layer is great. Supports nutrient cycling, water retention, microbes.
And drainage again, but also holding moisture. Seems like a balance.
It is. Needs good drainage, yes, but also needs to hold enough moisture for the roots, especially in dry spells.
Yeah.
That prevents stress. We also talk pH 6.0 to 7.5 is optimal, slightly acidic to neutral. That's where most nutrients are readily available.
Right.
It can tolerate down to 5.0, but below 4.0 or above 8.0 growth really suffers. Nutrient content needs to be good naturally, NPK, calcium, magnesium, trace elements.
Okay.
And cation exchange capacity, or CEC, that's the soil's ability to hold on to nutrients like calcium, magnesium, potassium, should be moderate to high, ensures a good nutrient reservoir.
Are there soil types to definitely avoid red flags?
Yeah, definitely avoid compacted soils or ones that drain really poorly, like heavy clays with bad structure, roots suffocate, can't grow.
Makes sense.
And some wind protection and partial shade for the farm helps too. Reduces evaporation, keeps soil moisture better, more stable microclimate.
So finding that sweet spot, deep, fertile, well-drained, but holds moisture, loamy, organic, right pH, is absolutely foundational. Okay, let's talk threats. Common pests and diseases that hit cacao hard.
Unfortunately, there's a fair few. Major pests include the cocoa pod borer, devastating, especially in Asia and parts of the Americas. Larvae tunnel right into the pods.
Ouch.
Mealybugs, we mentioned them. Sapsuckers spread disease like CSSV, found everywhere. Cacao myriads in Africa, Asia, feed on young shoots, leaves, pods. Cause dieback.
Okay.
Cacao weevil tunnels into the trunk, branches, weakens the tree. Termites can attack roots, stems, especially in dry areas.
That's a nasty lineup. What about diseases?
Also significant, black pod rot caused by Phytophthora fungus, probably the most damaging worldwide. Loves humid, rainy conditions, rots the pods. Witch's broom and frosty pod rot are big problems in the Americas. Cause weird growth, pod decay. Cacao swollen shoot virus spread by mealybugs, really destructive in West Africa, kills trees eventually.
Wow.
Vascular streak dieback fungal, common in Southeast Asia, causes branches to die back. And others too, enteric nose, cushion gall, root rots, pink disease.
It really drives home why monitoring and management are so crucial.
Absolutely, an integrated approach is key. Regular monitoring, good sanitation, using resistant varieties when possible. You have to stay vigilant.
Clearly. Now, we've covered a huge amount, but are there things researchers or guides sometimes miss? Potential blind spots in cacao farming knowledge?
Yes, definitely some important nuances get overlooked. Gender and social dynamics is one area.
How so?
Research might mention women's roles, but often doesn't dig deep into challenges they face. Land ownership, access to credit, training, and traditional community labor practices, co-ops, shared work, often aren't detailed enough in standard guides, but they're vital for smallholders.
That's a really important social dimension. What about the soil again? Any missed nuances there?
Yeah, region-specific adaptation. We talked Colombia, high acidity, aluminum toxicity. General guides might not give enough specific strategies for that context, like precise liming or organic matter techniques for those soils. And the huge role of soil microbial health, nutrient cycling, disease suppression often gets underplayed, despite being fundamental for organic systems.
Okay. What about the nursery stage? Any gaps there?
Water quality, like we discussed, often just as a reliable source, not the specifics of avoiding salinity or adjusting pH for seedlings.
Right.
Grafting failures too. Guides mention grafting, but often lack detailed troubleshooting for incompatibility between varieties or selecting the right rootstocks for local diseases.
Seems like critical details are often in the specifics. Other blind spots.
Shade management can be tricky. Guides say reduce shade over time, but don't always cover the stress from too much removal or how it affects pests. Shade tree choice matters too. Nitrogen fixers versus fruit trees. The long-term impacts aren't always explored fully.
Okay.
Financial and market risks. Cocoa price volatility is known, but specific risk mitigation strategies for smallholders' forward contracts, value-added products might not get enough focus. Certification costs and bureaucracy for small farms often aren't fully quantified either.
Sounds like many practical realities get glossed over.
They can. Climate adaptation too. Drought-resistant varieties might be mentioned, but what about flavor trade-offs? Practical advice for flood recovery is often lacking. Pest and disease realities can be complex. New regional pathogens emerge. Resistance in plants can break down. Post-harvest challenges like consistent fermentation, humidity control during drying, especially in rainy seasons.
Right.
And broader policy stuff.
Yeah.
Land tenure security, complex export rules, and succession planning, transferring knowledge to the next generation. All potential blind spots with big impacts.
Those are all incredibly important points. Highlights the need for local knowledge, community focus, and solid risk planning. Okay, after all that hard work, let's talk rewards, the health benefits. Cacao is more than just tasty, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's packed with bioactive compounds, flavonoids, polyphenols, great for cardiovascular health.
Wow.
Flavonoids help produce nitric oxide, which relaxes blood vessels, can lower blood pressure. Linked to reduced heart disease risk, too. Helps lower LDL cholesterol, improves blood flow, reduces inflammation.
Genuinely heart healthy. What else?
Metabolic benefits. Enhances glucose metabolism, improves insulin sensitivity, helpful for preventing type 2 diabetes. Some compounds might even help with weight management, boosting energy metabolism, fat oxidation.
Interesting. And for the brain?
Flavonoids increase blood flow to the brain, can potentially improve memory, attention, cognitive function. And mood effects cacao stimulate serotonin, endorphins, can boost well-being, reduce stress.
A natural mood booster. What about those antioxidants we hear about?
That's a big one. Cacao is super rich in polyphenols. They fight free radicals, protect cells from damage.
Okay.
Significant anti-inflammatory properties, too. Can even benefit skin health, improving hydration, elasticity. Flavonols boost blood flow to skin, support collagen, might offer some UV protection.
Wow.
And it acts as a prebiotic, feeds good gut bacteria. Helps the immune system too, potentially reducing allergic responses, enhancing immune cell function. Some early research even suggests cancer prevention potential due to anti-angiogenic effects.
That's an amazing list of benefits. Does it matter what kind of cacao you eat?
Yes, it can. Processing, like fermentation, especially roasting, can reduce some of those beneficial flavonoids. So minimally processed stuff, often called raw cacao, tends to retain the highest levels. Commercial chocolate often has added sugar and fat, which can counteract the benefits. For health perks, purer, less processed is generally better.
Makes sense. Less processed, more goodness. Speaking of forms, raw cacao versus roasted cacao, what's the actual difference?
Good question. It really comes down to temperature during processing.
Okay.
Raw cacao is basically unroasted or very minimally processed, fermented and dried at low temps, usually below about 48 Celsius or 118 Fahrenheit.
And roasted?
Roasted cacao beans are heated much higher, typically 140 to 150 Celsius, like 285 to 300 Fahrenheit, before being processed further into traditional chocolate.
How does that affect them, nutritionally, flavor-wise?
Nutritionally, raw cacao generally keeps more vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, those feel-good compounds like theobromine. The high heat of roasting can reduce some of these heat-sensitive ones.
Okay.
Flavor-wise, raw cacao is more intense, earthy, often more bitter and acidic, less of that familiar chocolate taste. Roasting develops that rich, deep, classic chocolate flavor we mostly know. Reduces the acidity and bitterness.
So it's a trade-off, nutrients in raw versus familiar flavor in roasted.
Pretty much, yeah. Raw cacao is popular with the health crowd for those higher nutrient levels. But roasting is crucial for food safety. High heat sterilizes the beans, kills off bacteria, fungi, molds, much lower risk, and uses differ too. Raw often goes in smoothies, raw desserts, ceremonial drinks. Roasted is the base for almost all traditional chocolate bars, baking chocolate, cocoa powder.
That's a really clear distinction. Now, we know beans become bars, but what are all the intermediate products? It's not just one step, is it?
No, it's a series of transformations.
Sure.
One early form is cacao nibs, just roasted, cracked beans with shells removed. Purest processed form.
Okay.
Grind those nibs, you get cacao liquor or cocoa mass. Thick, dark paste, the base for all chocolate.
Right.
Press that liquor, you separate it into cocoa butter, the fat used in chocolate and cosmetics, and cocoa cake.
Cocoa cake.
Yeah, the solid part left over. Grind that, and you get cocoa powder for baking drinks. And then chocolate itself, liquor, butter, sugar, maybe milk, all refined and conched.
So nibs, liquor, butter, powder, and finally chocolate.
Yeah.
Any useful byproducts?
Yes. The shells removed during winnowing can be used as garden mulch, animal feed, even for extracting antioxidants. And the fleshy pulp around the fresh beans, sometimes fermented into drinks or used for pectin.
Amazing how much comes from one bean. Okay, regulations. Setting up a farm, maybe processing. What permits zoning rules do people need to know about?
You're right. It's crucial, sometimes complex. It varies by location, but some key areas are universal. Zoning is first.
Agricultural zoning.
Yeah. Land needs to be zoned for ag use. That often comes with rules on minimum lot size, what activities are allowed, what you can build, setback requirements to how far buildings must be from property lines, roads, water.
So step one is talk to local authorities about zoning.
Absolutely. You'll likely need a site plan review, especially for new construction. If you want to do something not automatically allowed, like on-farm processing or retail sales, you might need special use permits or variances. That's a formal review process.
Okay.
And any new buildings, barns, processing facilities will almost certainly need building permits. Got to meet safety and environmental codes.
What about environmental rules or ag compliance?
Yep. If you're in an ag district, you might get protections, but still need to follow local health, safety, environmental rules. Crucially, make sure you're not in protected areas or forests where farming's restricted. Deforestation laws are increasingly important, especially for export markets.
Right.
And if you process food for sale, food safety rules, business licenses, permits, organic or fair trade certification adds more inspections, paperwork. So talk early and often with local planning, zoning, and ag extension services. Get all your ducks in a row.
Sounds like a lot of homework before planting anything. Okay, the big one. The bottom line. Is chocolate farming actually profitable? What's the realistic financial picture?
The million-dollar question, or maybe the $1,000 question per hectare. Profitability varies hugely. So many factors.
Like certification.
Yeah, certified organic or fair trade farms often show better yields and margins than non-certified. We see examples in Cameroon.
Yeah.
But there are big regional differences too.
How?
In Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, the price per ton might seem okay, But production costs, labor, inputs, certification fees eat up a lot of revenue. Latin America often gets better prices for high-quality beans, but production costs can also be higher. Net margins there might be, say, 15–25%.
And farmers only get a small slice of the final chocolate price, right?
Or a very small slice, typically, often estimated around 11%. Processors, manufacturers, brands, retailers get the rest. So for many farmers, net profit can be under $1,000 per hectare per year.
That seems quite low for all the work involved. What about return on investment? How long to break even?
Takes time. Trees don't produce much commercially for 3–5 years, so break even is around then.
Okay.
After that, certified farms might see 10–20% ROI annually, maybe. Non-certified, maybe 5–15%, more exposed to price swings. But if you hit niche markets, single origin, artisanal, organic, direct relationships, maybe you could see 25–30% or more in specific cases.
So yield, certification costs, price volatility are key drivers.
Absolutely. Yield is huge. Averages maybe 400–600 kilophi.
Yeah.
But good practices can push it over 1,000 kilophi. Certification costs money, but premiums can offset that if they're reliable. Cocoa prices are notoriously volatile. We saw record highs recently, but projections suggest maybe stabilizing a bit. Climate risks, drought, floods, pests can wipe out profits.
Right.
We see examples everywhere. Cameroon co-ops doing better certified. Nigeria using low-cost pest control being more sustainable financially. Latin America getting premiums for fine flavor beans. Near term. Some forecasts show a potential supply surplus, might ease prices, but demand strength is a question mark. And farmers, especially West Africa, face ongoing challenges with credit, cash flow, debt, limits investment.
So it can be profitable, but it needs a long-term view, careful management, risk mitigation, and often strategic market access.
Let's circle back to soil nuances, region-specific adaptation, microbial health. You mentioned Colombia.
Yeah, Colombia is a great example.
Yeah.
Many cacao areas there have very acidic soils, low pH, high levels of exchangeable aluminum.
Which is very bad. Aluminum is toxic to cacao roots. Hinders nutrient uptake, stunts growth, cuts yields. Low pH also makes key nutrients like phosphorus, calcium, magnesium less available.
So what do farmers there do?
Liming is the main strategy. Applying agricultural lime dolomite or calcium carbonate. Studies show it works. Raises pH, reduces toxic aluminum and iron, improves nutrient holding capacity.
Okay.
Makes calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc more available to the roots. Takes a few months, but you see improvements in soil structure, porosity, less toxicity. Goal is pH 5.0 minimum, ideally 5.5, 6.0. And keeping calcium and magnesium levels up is vital too.
Makes sense for the chemistry. What about the biology? The soil microbes?
Absolutely critical for long-term health. Those bacteria, fungi, actinomycetes, they drive nutrient cycling. Break down organic matter, release nutrients plants can use. They also help suppress disease, compete with pathogens, inhibit them, help plants build defenses to keep them happy, minimize or avoid synthetic chemicals. Boost organic matter, compost, manure, cover crops. That's their food and habitat. Keep the ground covered with mulch. Protect soil, retains moisture, supports microbes. Avoid compaction microbes. Microbes need air and water flow. And rotate crops or intercrop. Boost diversity.
So fix the regional chemistry issues like acidity and foster a healthy living soil ecosystem.
Exactly. Regular soil testing tells you the specific needs. Then you use targeted strategies, liming if needed, but always focusing on building organic matter and supporting those beneficial microbes. That holistic approach is key for sustainable, productive cacao farming.
This has been an incredibly thorough deep dive. We've gone from climate and soil to pests, processing, business model, sustainability, profitability, even those hidden details in nurseries and soil science. What are a couple of things that really stood out as surprising or just particularly interesting to you?
For me, it's just how incredibly specific cacao's needs are. That narrow band of temperature, humidity, rainfall, how sensitive it is. Also, the potential of using natural predators for pest control, really working with the ecosystem.
That's fascinating. And maybe a bit sobering, thinking about the final chocolate bar, how little of that value often gets back to the farmer who did so much work.
Yeah, that last point hits home. For me, the sheer importance of soil health really struck me, not just the nutrients, but that whole living microbial world underground. And those specific details about nursery water quality and grafting failures highlights the precision needed. It's definitely not just sticking a seed in the ground.
Not at all. It's this complex dance between environment, biology, and really careful, knowledgeable management. Well, you tuned in because you wanted to get a solid understanding without getting lost in the weeds, and I think we've really delivered that today. A shortcut through a ton of info, pulling out the crucial bits. So as we wrap up, here's something for you to think about. Considering everything we've discussed, the environment, the biology, the economics, the social factors, what do you see as the single biggest hurdle to making chocolate production truly sustainable and fair worldwide?
That's a tough one.
No easy answer, right? But definitely worth mulling over next time you enjoy some chocolate.
And hey, if this sparked more questions, keep digging. Learning is always ongoing. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cacao.
I started a chocolate farm, and let me tell you, business was sweet at first. But then the cacao plants unionized, the marshmallows went on strike, and the Hershey's rep called me a wannabe Willy Wonka with trust issues. Now I'm in therapy, and my scarecrow's diabetic, and that's a wrap, or should I say, a fair trade, compostable, eco-friendly chocolate wrapper. Thanks for joining us on this sweet journey to start your own sustainable chocolate farm. If you learned something today, or at least didn't completely melt under the pressure, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe, because nothing says I support sustainability like aggressively clicking buttons on the internet. Got questions? Leave a comment. Got chocolate? Send samples. Until next time, keep it ethical, keep it organic, and remember, you can't plant a Snickers bar and expect a tree. I tried. It just attracted ants and judgment. Stay sweet, farmers.